Hey everybody, this is B-Word of the Bleach Bros Podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to bring your attention to our Linktree. Please visit Linktree/Bleach Bros Podcast for the links to all of our socials, streaming sites, and merch. Linktree is linktr.ee/Bleach Bros Podcast, all one word. If you enjoy our content, make sure to give us a like and give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Also, invite your friends. And with that, let's get started with the show.
Christmas, you filthy animal. Ho, 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 ho!
Welcome into the Bleach Brothers Podcast. This is B-Word, and as usual, I am here with Jake. And Jake, we weren't really looking to do a Christmas episode this year, but we decided...
and also I'm not your good buddy anymore. Let's start with that.
Why?
You didn't say my good buddy, Jake. You just said Jake.
Oh, well, okay. That was a. I don't know. Maybe it's
trying to
in the
skip
back
it over,
of my
just
mind.
like Christmas. Yep.
Maybe it's in the back of my mind. It's that holiday spirit that nobody has. I don't know, man. We weren't really planning on. I mean, we haven't done a holiday episode at all, unless you want to consider Super Bowl a holiday, which I do think
consider
Super Bowl should be a holiday.
Yeah, it should.
But we, this is actually a good thing that we're doing some holiday stuff. I think this will be a fun episode. But how you been, man?
I'm good. Speaking of Christmas, do you like to eat Chinese food at Christmas?
No, but I do like Chinese food.
The reason I ask is I've been trolling somebody lately. A friend of mine's significant other and him split. There was due to some infidelity stuff, and anytime she posts something about her dog, I tell him to eat him. And so this week, I decided to go on her page, and when she was asking for recommendations of a groomer, I put a Chinese restaurant and said, eat them.
Amazing.
They said, you're done in this conversation. And me being me, I said, fuck that. I do what I want. So that's how my week's been. How about yours, Stuart?
Did you at least recommend like a quality Chinese restaurant?
No.
Fantastic.
I recommended one that used to be near my old house, and I was convinced it's all right. Let me just describe this Chinese restaurant. It's called the Green Tea Kitchen, right? When I first drove by it, it's right next to a storage facility. There's no windows on this building except one really tall, like weird sideways rectangle window at the top of the building, which I'm convinced is a bathroom. And then just one neon sign outside and just a stucco brick or building, right? It never looks busy. It looks scary. It doesn't have great reviews online. And so I decided that was the best place to recommend because I think they eat cats there because there's always a lot of cats roaming around outside that building for some reason. And nobody's chasing them, but I think, they don't want them to get too lean. You got to have a little fat. Fat is flavor.
Yes, it is.
And cats aren't hard to catch. But yeah, that's the one I recommended. I think it has 3-star review.
Amazing.
I mean, the bot's got to help them get up a little bit, but
amazing.
That was my week. How about your week, B-Word?
My week was pretty incredible, but your little thing there about no windows reminded me of a story where one of my employees one time, she came in and threw her back out. Like it was the most incredible pain I've ever seen her in. And she's like, do you know of a good chiropractor? Well, I had rubbed elbows with a chiropractor in a couple different social meetings. And I was like, I know this guy.
I thought you were going to say in a couple different ways.
No.
Yeah.
But I was like,
stretch it.
I was like, so I know that I know he's a chiropractor. He's kind of new to town, whatever. But I know he's looking for clients. So if it's something you're interested in, I mean, I can send you over there. So she decided to do that. So he had an office with a masseuse. So the masseuse was on the top and the chiropractor was on the bottom, basically a basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up taking her into the basement, and he literally ties her to the table and walks out, and instantly she is panicking, looking for any shred of a window. And there was like those traditional basement windows that only crack, right? And so it was closed, and so she's trying to think of, okay, how do I yell, please help me, I'm being raped, or whatever's going on down there. Turns out he popped her a few times and sent her on her way, I'm sure with a nice smack on the ass. But good thing is she'll never go back to that guy. Last I checked, he's still out of business too. So
that building has happy endings on both ends of the spectrum. Then
yeah,
a
probably.
happy ending upstairs and a happy ending downstairs.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
That's awesome.
I'd imagine
that is my
so.
kind of place, bro. Like you get a pop in a line.
I'm popping a line. Well, speaking of pops and lines, we have another guest with us here, bro.
This is a first. Not because, again, one of my friends, let's just be honest here. We've talked about him on the show a lot, but that's because he's a huge fan of the show. And behind the curtain, thought it would be a good idea to come on. He is Captain Christmas to me. We have talked about him with Ben and Jake Day when we hang out and go to Marvel movies. But my good friend Ben, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on, bro. No, we figured what better, I mean, because you even asked, Jake, are you guys doing a Christmas special? And of course, me being me said, fuck no. And then we had a discussion, and then I sent it to B-Word, and B-Word goes, this guy's right. I'm sick of hearing Jake. I need somebody else to help me close out this year and come on. So welcome on, dude. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But Ben, let me just start with this before we get into Bleach Bros and Xmas and stuff. When you first met me, I get a lot of hate on this show, and I am the hater. But what went through your mind, and what made you become my buddy?
I think you just kind of forced me into it. I didn't really have a choice. I think when we met, you were instantly just like up on me, talking, chatting, getting to know me. And you didn't really give me a choice of whether or not we were going to be friends. It just kind of happened naturally through the way that you just banter and even wrestling me in the office and everything like that. So,
well, you're a big guy, Ben. I mean, how big are you? Because everybody considered me to be a big guy, but you're bigger than me. So how big are you?
6'4", around 250.
Are those two different measurements?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 and then 4. Got it. So let me ask this: Are you well compensated by Jake? Because, like you, Jake didn't really give me a chance to not be his friend, and he decided that not only would he be overtly like aggressive with trying to create some sort of platonic relationship with me, but that he would also be a needy fuck. And in turn, I've decided that I tried to invoice him, but all of my invoices for the last 30 years have gone unpaid. And so I'm curious, is he compensating you in any way to be his friend?
He buys me food sometimes.
That
and then
cocksucker.
he makes me delicious meals. He actually hasn't cooked for me, like really cooked for me like he used to when we first started being friends in a long time. So I'm waiting for like a dinner invite or something, but
it's like marriage, Ben. It's gotten to the point. I know about your foot fetish. I had you come over. You stared at my feet. I figured I might as well go stand on them and make you some night. I will say that was a fun night when we did the Punisher or Daredevil, because when a Marvel show would come out, we would binge it all in one day on Netflix, and Ben would come over, and I made thick cut pork chops, and like I would cook to the nines, and It's been good. No, we just haven't been able to do that because typically we've been going out to for burgers before a movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, you know what? Screw both of you. I'm a good friend to have. I know I'm a little crazy. I get a little nutty and stuff, but I don't know. I enjoy your guys' company. If you want to bill me for it, go ahead. You'll just never get paid. So
I've been billing you for 30 years.
Yeah, good luck with that, man. Like you're like the IRS. I don't give a shit. Okay, death and taxes. That's all you are to me. Death and taxes.
This is why we joined Spreaker Prime, so that way these conversations with you, we can get compensated, and people can listen to the commercials in this, and somehow, some way, we rub a couple nickels together, and that's good. So Ben, as Jake's friend and co-host, I obviously am on the Bleach Bros podcast, so my view of Jake as a podcast host is very skewed. I think of Jake as an absolute terror and a pain in my side 99% of the time, but there's that 0.01% of the time that he absolutely shines. But separately, Jake's been in and out of different media, whether it be YouTube channels or television or radio, for quite a while. So I'm curious, from your perspective, also being a friend of the hater, how is Jake different on the Bleach Bros podcast than in person?
Not much different. I think he's pretty much himself, as always. He's, loud. He can be very obnoxious, and then he can be very sweet and loving, and then he's like nice and sometimes humble, but mostly just talks a lot about himself, which I'm very much used to. So that's how the friendship works, is Jake leads the conversations. I say a few words, and then he tells me another 90-minute story. And then I try to remember them all, but it's hard.
I dig it. I dig it because I'm used to the uh-huh-uh-huh-uh-uh-uhs too. And so we get about 90 of those within the episode that I end up cutting down to about 6. But speaking of Bleach Bros, so first off, thank you so much for being a supporter of our show. You have engaged with us in social media. You've talked with Jake behind the scenes about, different episodes and your opinions of them and whatnot. Now, I'm told that you really like when we nerd out. You like the Marvel, the DC, all the fantasy. You like all of that sort of stuff. But talk to me a little bit about, some of the episodes, maybe not episodes specifically, but what about the Bleach Bros podcast do you like, as a fan on the outside?
So I started listening just basically to support Jake because he's my friend, and I wanted to, be there for him and help him grow his show and actually make this something. And then I kind of stuck around because of your camaraderie together and the way you guys interact and talk just kind of draws people in and brings you in for the whole hour. And it's like often I'm working while I'm listening, so it's on in the background, but I'm always listening and hearing what you're saying. And so it's like a conversation's happening right next to me while I don't have to be in it, and I can listen in, and so I can hear all the great stories and usually catch a laugh or two in there somewhere with something. I think it's just that, and the way you guys talk with each other kind of just brings it in like two buddies just hanging out kind of a thing.
What don't you like about the Bleach Bros podcast?
Yeah, what the fuck do you hate?
What do I hate about that? Man, sometimes I get frustrated when you guys are talking and you can't think of a person's name, and I'm yelling it in the background like, it's that guy. It's him. And then it's like 5 minutes later, after you've looked it up on Google or something, it's him. And then I'm like, yes, it's him. Because I tend to get those names like quickly in things like trivia and stuff like that. So I'm over here like, okay, I know who that is. Yes, that's him. And you guys are like stumbling through trying to figure it out in between each other. He was also in this and that. And so that always just frustrates me.
That happened in the last episode. I was trying to find Tracy Morgan's name.
Yeah, I was yelling.
And even as I was editing the whole episode, I'm like, please tell me we said Tracy Morgan. And neither one of us said Tracy Morgan. And I was just like, damn it.
Yeah. So you're a guest, and I hope you're enjoying the experience. But we've interviewed a lot of guests, and over the time we've had the show. What was your favorite one that we've had on?
I've really enjoyed when you've had some of the local radio guys that do the Blazer coverage, because I listen to them, like Travis Demers, the voice of the Blazers, Brandon Sprague, and Danny Meringue for the Jack Ramsey podcast, who I listen to a ton. I really enjoyed the Dads on Dayquil. Those guys are hilarious. So it's always a good time when you guys are all together and you guys are talking about some random thing and making up some stuff and ranking something silly and recasting a whole series or show. And so I enjoy those episodes a lot.
Nice.
So Jake's called you Captain Christmas. As we sit here right now, you have a Portland Trail Blazers Santa hat on. I can see that you have a Christmas hood or a Christmas sweater on. I don't know what the design is on it per se, unless it is also Blazers. It is a driving home. It is a sedan with a Christmas tree on it and candy canes. I dig it. I dig it. So as Captain Christmas, because Jake is a hater and Jake will always choose Krampus. We know that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Why is Christmas so important to you? I know it's important to many people. I know that Christmas is one of those favorite holidays, specifically here, in the United States. It's very commercialized now, but what is it about Christmas that means the most to you?
I think it's the joy that every season brings, no matter how bad things are everywhere else or how rough work is, how anything else could be going. There's that joy in the air, no matter what you're doing. I can find the Christmas music I want to listen to. I can drive down the street, see the Christmas decorations I like. I can wear the clothes that just make me happy. And so I have my December 1st, I put my hat on and I'm wearing it every day through the whole month, through Christmas. I got my sweater collection that I'm growing every year, trying to get up to 25 sweaters. I got about 11 or 12 now. So I'm trying to get that grown, and I think it's just, as I've grown and gotten older, families made that a big thing. And the joy of seeing my kids and all that stuff. So everything with that. And I don't know, it's just something in me. I can't really pinpoint it, but it's just grown, and the joy, I would say, the most.
So talk to me about your Christmas lingerie collection. Do you have full bottom underwear, or is it an actual G-string?
It's usually just a full bottom, full on jockey type boxer briefs with Santas all over them and stuff is usually what I wear.
And is it typically a candy cane in the front, or are you dealing with is it if it's a specific pair of snowman ones, do you just have the carrot right there, or what's going on right there?
Yeah, it's usually tastefully planted right where you need it. So any kind of design
on the penis,
the
on the penis, you mean, right?
Come across where it should, open
Gotcha.
up.
See, so okay, let's ask this. B-word, if you could design a man's Speedo, G-string, whatever underwear. What design are you doing for Christmas, in your downstairs region?
Okay, so are we talking about the shape of it? So it's going to be a G-string, or just what exactly is also, the package looking like? Yeah,
what's it look like? For me, I'm going to do a beard on my balls. The nose is Santa's nose, and then I'm going to smack the outside area because we know I fade my pubes, so I have rosy cheeks too, and that's how I'm making mine. So, and it's all hanging out.
Are you calling Santa a liar? Because that's a
big, I am. Fuck him. We know that. We're going to get into it, but I don't care.
Right,
that's a big old nose.
So I think if I were to design it, I would probably go with a couple of ornaments where the nuts go, and then I would go with a candy cane directly above that. It just very simple. I am not girthy by any means, and I'm not very long, so I will be one of those mini candy canes. As a matter of fact, if it was a set of Burger King drawers that said Home of the Whopper on the front, if you were far away, it would be a Whopper Jr.
I was hoping that you were going to say, I'm going to go stand out in the cold for a little while, let it turn into a turtle nose and get bright red and just be Rudolph down there.
There you go.
So it shines bright, bro. Ben, what are you designing? What kind of underwear are you designing for your dong?
I think I'm going with a full-on unit of PJs, kind of long underwear style, that open in the front instead, and it's a giant present, so you open it up and it's your dick in a box.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
What if you made it a fireplace and there was the fire when it's buttoned up, and when you undo it, it's just a big lump of coal down there,
or it's just a couple of chestnuts,
black and messy, yeah, and just you just let your hair just get out of hand and just become a fucking train wreck.
Well, I do think that probably one of the best tattoo ideas would be if you had tattoos on each of your testicles that just said chestnuts, and then on your penis it said by an open fire, and you're just it's roasting. I'm roasting my chestnuts by an open fire. I think it would just be amazing. Could you imagine
if you went in for an STD test and they said, "Sorry, sir, it is actually a fire. You're gonna be pissing fire for a while. You got the clap." Yeah. And dude, your chestnuts are just fucking a train wreck right then. Ugh.
Well, speaking of train wreck, we're gonna get this thing back on track here because this is going way off the rails because of Jake. So Ben, serious note, back to Christmas. What sort of traditions do you have when it comes to the holiday?
So growing up, it's always been going out with the family, cutting down a Christmas tree, decorating the house, hanging Christmas lights. As I got older into my teenage years and my grandfather got older and he couldn't decorate his house, my cousin and I would go over there and we hang all his Christmas lights. And we did that for 5-10 years before he passed away, and always did up his place and prepped him for Christmas. And he'd take us out to the local restaurant. I think it was like an Applebee's or something afterwards, and he'd buy us steak dinners, and he'd get a couple martinis, and we'd have a good time and share some good memories there. Some of my other traditions are just, for my house, it's always decorating. I love hanging lights. I'd go all out Clark Griswold style if I could, but I just don't have the power supplies at this where I live now, so I had to kind of do just enough to make it look nice, but not to its full potential. I have too many decorations to hang.
Well, I remember you used to decorate before we get into that. Ben used to decorate his whole office. You'd go in there and he'd have Christmas music playing December 1st, and then you'd see everything done up at his desk, and that's where Captain Christmas came from. We're like, holy balls, dude, he's got everything. For me, I'm just the normal lights outside. I'm anti-inflatables. I think they suck. I hate them. They make noises. They look cheap. I like the old school actual like light up deer and actual lawn ornaments that don't like deflate like a rubber condom after you're done using it and you just leave it on the floor. That's what it looks like. Santa got fucked and I don't know what's full in it. And they pop. But I will say this. I love rainbow lights. Out of all of them, I am not a traditional white light guy. I don't like just the all blue. I like them to be rainbow and go in it. And I don't care what you're thinking right now in your brain, B-word, because that is what I do on the outside of my house. And I have a typical moose. I just have a few. But my one tradition, though, is I put Gizmo at the top of my tree from Gremlins. I have a Rambo Gizmo that I got as a joke gift for somebody. I got 3 of them and put them in my tree. And I put that one on the top because Gremlins is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. And that tradition is just stuck. And we do other ones like the pickle in the tree because my wife and, you know, like we make reindeer food with the kids and sprinkle it outside. And I enjoy the traditions with the children. The only other ones I have is I get an ornament every year. And my tree is so stacked full. I mean, we got a giant tree this year, but I'm starting to look forward to, because all my kids have their own box of ornaments, is when they can sort of have theirs and move out and do their own tree and have that tradition carried on. And then my tree is a little clearer because right now it's so overly stuffed. I feel like sometimes I have to put some away because I can't put them out. But what about you, B-Word?
So you think I'm going to hate on your rainbow lights? You know, I know where you live, bro. It's totally fine. And I support all of that. So there's no issue with rainbow lights for me. Okay. On the flip side, I actually like rainbow lights. I think that those are a good thing. I do not and have not put Christmas lights up ever on my own house, just because in my cul-de-sac that I live in, nobody really does anything, and so I'm just part of the status quo. You shut your mouth over there, Captain Christmas. I'm going to do as I want. The second thing that I do for me is when my daughter was young, there was always a Christmas Eve gift. So you'd always get to open one gift. And sometimes it was designated. Other times it would be her choice, but it was always one gift would be opened on Christmas Eve before Santa showed up. The other tradition in my house was even though I knew my daughter knew that Santa wasn't real, I never told her that he wasn't real. In the same manner that nobody ever told me that he wasn't real, like from a parental standpoint. And when I did know that she no longer believed in Santa, I actually wrote a letter to her as Santa and told her that I thanked her for her time of being able to spoil her and understand that, you know, she no longer thinks that I'm real, and that's fine, but that it's her responsibility to carry on the Christmas spirit to other kids and to not spoil it. And she never has. She's always been really good that way. But my number one Christmas tradition every single year, I watch A Christmas Story. Every single year.
Never seen it.
You should.
Never
it's
seen
amazing.
it. Nope.
So wrong of you. I can't even.
Honestly, and Ben, did you watch the sequel? It's on
I have
HBO
not watched
Max.
The sequel yet. I was waiting for Christmas to watch it.
Okay, so I did watch it because it's not going to be part of my Christmas thing. You'll have to check back in with us and let us know what you thought about it. I was appreciative of it, but it'll probably be my only watch of it. Let me put it that way. But A Christmas Story is my gig. I love it every Christmas. It's my jam. And so that will be, honestly, until my dying day, I will turn on TBS or TNT and I will watch it at least once on Christmas.
It's really that good? People,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen scenes. I know there's like a BB gun and an eyeball and a leg lamp.
And a pink rabbit. Yeah.
Sure, didn't know that. I know that's Easter. And I know there's a tongue on a pole or something.
Yeah.
That's about the gist of
Honestly,
it, right? They eat Chinese food or something.
So I know that I give you shit for not watching the Wonder Years, right? But the Wonder Years and the Sandlot, they both have a narrator, and it comes from, the influence of that comes from A Christmas Story. And the way that it's narrated is in a way that you relate to no matter what your age is, because it goes through the thought processes of a child experiencing Christmas. And because of that, I feel like even for me, in the years that I am bah humbug, I can at least still experience Christmas from that perspective.
Okay. Well, because it was funny, my mom actually called me today, and she was going through a list with me of Christmas movies, right? Because she knows my favorites, Gremlins. And I have my select list that I watch. Now, Ben, do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
And why?
Because it happens on Christmas Eve. There's Christmas decorations, Christmas party, Christmas music, everything about it. She even talks about him waking up the next day, Christmas morning with the kids and all of that and everything. It's a Christmas movie. It just happens to also include guns and violence and a lot of fucking awesome shit.
Who's a better Christmas singer, Mariah Carey or Michael Bublé?
Mariah Carey.
He hates Michael Bublé.
I hate Michael Bublé.
Why do you hate Michael
and
Bublé?
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
I think he's like a wannabe Frank Sinatra. Like, he's a crooner guy that doesn't sound nearly as good, and he's just trying to be that, like that. And his name is that Bublé. Like, it says bubbly. Like, pronounce it right.
Fans, I just need to interject here. This was supposed to be B-Word with Jake the Hater and friend of the show, Ben. This has become B-Word with Ben the Hater and Jake the Hater, and I'm certainly not appreciative of that. Fuck Mariah Carey. The bitch doesn't shut up. As soon as it turns Halloween, she's just like, she just turns that shit on. And what's even more funny about Mariah Carey is she's embracing it now to a point that is like irreparable. Like, it is just not a good thing. Like November 1st hits, all of her social media is like, I'm coming, bitches. And she just does this. And no.
Yeah.
And she had sex with Nick Cannon.
That song every season. Have you heard the crazy millions of dollars she gets from one royalty song for 2 months?
Yes.
A year.
Good for her. Good for her.
I just kind of hope that in the same vein, like Rick Roll, I hope that he gets a whole ton of that shit too. So
I'm a fan of both of them. I'm a fan. I love Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé Holiday is one of my favorite albums. Yeah. I love me some Mariah Carey. I will admit there was a lot of tissues and lotion lost back in the day to that one.
Oh yeah. Especially her.
I wish I was her Nick Cannon for a while. Exactly. Or Heartbreaker. Woo! Give me some of that, dude. I would just tap the hell out of it. I would. That's all I want for Christmas. That's all I want for Christmas right now. I'm saying it. The song makes sense, but I mean, no, like. It's one of those things. Like, I think she there's a talent there, because I mean, who makes good new Christmas songs anymore? Nobody. Everybody does the same old fucking songs. Kelly Clarkson did a good one. That's true. But how often does that actually come out? It's, like, we need Taylor Swift too, and then Ben will lose his mind, because Ben also hates Taylor Swift.
The best thing that Mariah Carey did is she made me look like Thumper from Bambi. As I would get ready to climax, my foot was just tweaking like nobody's business. And that was to that Honey album, because damn, she was hot in that Honey album. But on that note, I'm going to actually stretch my foot real quick, and we'll be right back. Bleach Bros Podcast is proud to align itself with Jerky Pro, a beef jerky manufacturer established by military and paramilitary veterans.
Available in 3-ounce or 1-pound bags with great flavors such as honey glazed, teriyaki, red hot, apple cinnamon, original, peppered, sweet barbecue, and if you're ballsy enough, nuclear.
Be sure to use our promo code to get some of the best jerky on the market. Use Bleach Bros 5, all lowercase, to take advantage of this offer today.
Welcome back, holiday lovers, to the Bleach Brothers Podcast. I'm bringing us in. We're here with Ben. We're here with B-Word, of course. Because we're actually going to talk about Christmas food. And being the head chef of the show,
The head
and
chef.
the one that knows most about this, the head chef of this show.
The chef's specialty is head. Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes, dude,
All right.
sometimes. But let's talk about Christmas food, guys. And what I want to do is sort of go through like a ranking system, like what are some of your favorite foods? Why? How would you like to spend your holiday eating? And what are some traditional foods you have? So, Ben, let's start with this. What is the best Christmas snack in your opinion?
I like a good cheese ball with some crackers.
Okay.
My mom made one growing up that was like cream cheese, cheddar cheese, something else. I don't even know. She never wanted to tell me the recipe of how to do it. I think she's told my sister because I think she's made it. But that thing would always be gone in the first like half an hour of a get together because everyone would be all over it. So that was always the first go-to for us.
Nice. B-word?
I dig it. That actually sounds really good. I actually have two. It'd be a shrimp cocktail. Very simple, very easy.
Yep.
Or my grandmother used to make this clam dip that was really good, and it was kind of like your cheese ball, but it was a clam dip in ball form. I guess is the only way I know how to explain it. And we would do that with crackers, and it just like the cheese ball, it would be gone really quick. What about you, Jake?
Clammy balls.
That's
Clammy balls. No, I've made a good smoked trout dip or a crab dip over it. I'm not a big dip guy, but I'll make them for parties. I'm all about the sweets, man. My mama used to make these sticky buns that I'd wake up to and have, but I love just like the pretzels, the candy, just the little bites. I'm a huge fan of charcuterie plates, so you could put that in front of me all day and I could just sit and snack. I'm also a traditionalist in the sense like I always used to get beef jerky on Christmas, like Pringles. Like I was that kid that I was opening food in between every other present and then eating while opening presents, and that was just enjoyable for me. I remember I wouldn't even make it through the whole day or the next day with anything left because I would just be gorging myself on whatever I received. I will say this. I hate candy canes. They are like the candy corn. Oh, I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them. They're just overrated. They're sticky. There's just nothing enjoyable about them. But one of my favorite things to do, though, is to make hot cocoa.
Yes.
And I have a tradition at my house where I do a hot cocoa bar. And Ben has seen this, and I'm sure the social media has if people follow me, is I go all out for mine. It's not just hot cocoa marshmallows. I mean, I have like 10 cups of like items you can put in them, and we all make it, and we make the reindeer food, and we do that on Christmas Eve night. We open one present. And for me, it's like I put a big marshmallow, I get like a chocolate covered pretzel stick, put it in there to stir. But I'll say this, the secret to my hot cocoa is to take the cocoa powder that I'm going to use and melt some butter and toast it in that butter on the stove before I add anything else to it. And it always adds just an oomph to it, and it just makes it very velvety. But that I think, I know it's a drink, but if I could have anything, because I hate hot chocolate any other time of the year, but during the season, that is something that I just enjoy, hands down.
I think we can all agree, though, that there's a difference between hot chocolate and hot cocoa.
True, so I'll say it's hot chocolate, sorry, but yeah.
But really, I mean, I think of hot cocoa as more the milky, rather than the tea type chocolate, right? Like,
right.
There's certain hot chocolate where you taste the chocolate, but you can tell like there's a lot of hot water. Whereas I think of hot cocoa more as like the milky type of chocolate milk that's warm kind of thing there. From a chef's perspective, is there a way to say that other than how I'm saying it, or are they both the same?
To me, they're the same. I mean, because I don't make anything with water. It's the same thing. I don't cook oatmeal with water ever. I do it all with milk. Fat is flavor. I add onto that. So my wife does that where she'll just heat up a tea kettle and just pour it over like a hot cocoa packet or whatever. I will say this though, an interesting one if people ever get a chance is to do traditional drinking chocolate from like the Central America region or South America, where you take chocolate, because it's interesting. It has cayenne pepper in it and chilies. And it's a different nuance where you're getting more bitter and spice, but it's still that enjoyable, like almost frothiness.
Okay.
So I will say, if anybody ever gets a chance to drink traditional drinking chocolate during the season, do that, because it will change your feeling about it too, because that is done with water, but it is thick. It's delicious though. But no, I will always go with milk. And if I could, I'd do half and half, just because you need that oomph to the drink to make it enjoyable. Ben, what if you were over at my house, what are you putting in your hot cocoa at the bar?
Probably some marshmallows, and then if you got like one of those like wafer sticks to stir it with, or that's like a straw, I'm totally going to use one of those. That's delicious. Definitely the marshmallows. I'd steer away from anything peppermint. I don't like chocolate mint at all. It's awful.
Same.
I don't know why they're together. It's just a bad combo.
Jake likes everything mint, including his shampoo.
No, I like it on my body. I don't like it inside. I think chocolate mint chip ice cream is the worst. It's like eating fucking toothpaste with chocolate on the outside. It makes no sense. There's no point. Junior mints suck. All that stuff sucks.
That is the most rational comment that I think Jake has made all night. I appreciate that. I appreciate
We're all
that.
agreeing right now.
So Jake, I have a question for you. So as the chef, we talked earlier tonight behind the scenes where you were actually talking about making a prime rib for Christmas this year. And one of my favorite Christmas traditions as far as food goes is a prime rib. I think prime rib is one of the best dishes that you can have as a main course for Christmas, in my opinion. A lot of people do turkey, a lot of people do ham, but I was actually surprised to find out that you hadn't eaten a prime rib until only maybe a handful or 2 years ago. And it was something that you even steered away from. Can you kind of tell us about that?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad, remember whatever he is, he was allergic to garlic apparently, didn't like anything. He liked shoe leather meat, so everything had to be well done. So he convinced my family that prime rib was one of the worst dishes on the planet. Now, mind you, I used to have a stand-up joke, and how I would open is, "Hi, my name's Jake. I'm from Las Vegas, the same place that prime rib and pussy cost the same price, $3.99 a pound. You don't know if you trust it, you don't know if it's bloody, and you don't know how it smells, but it might be the meat from the Safeway, the reduced rack, or it could be something high-end. Just have fun tonight and gamble." And that's how I used to open my shows, and people loved it. But that's actually how I felt about prime rib until I moved here and worked in some nicer restaurants and had it and realized, oh my God, what have I been missing? It's a delicious dish. It's amazing. I mean, I like my steaks rare. It's medium rare if it's cooked right. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it with a lip on or an export or bone in, bone out, however. And it saddens me I didn't have it. But then again, B-word, I'm also happy because if you think about it, there are times that if I would have had it and my dad hated it and my mom didn't really do it, I might have had shitty ones my whole life and then been like, why do I want this? Because I'm a ham guy for Christmas. And there's a few reasons. We always did turkey on things. We did both on that, but ham was the traditional meal in my house and I've done this recipe for TV, but the next day we have a tradition to make sulavos balavas, which is a Hungarian dish, which is a ham bone stew. So we take the leftover ham, the bone that was used, we boil that down, and in my family we do it with lima beans and sauerkraut due to some German heritage. But I found this out years later after doing this recipe for years and working on it in kitchens and doing some research about my family, heritage. In Hungary, if you make a dish and you make a dish that is traditional, but it's used with a bean that nobody else uses, you're allowed to name it after your family. And to this day, I still have not found anybody that makes this dish with lima beans. So if that's true, we could technically call it Madosic stew, which is very fitting because this is what I've always had my whole life, and my family looks forward to it. So that's the other reason I'm a big ham guy. I will be doing steaks and prime ribs this year. I still will cook a ham just so I can do that the next day. But that's probably one of my favorite things because it's a comfort food too. It's one of those you can make a ton of it, freeze it. I'm up where it's cold. Ben lives up where I am. It's supposed to be 8 degrees all next week, and it's going to be a good time.
So, Ben, what's your preferred course, main course?
We started out with hams a lot that I remember from growing up, and that was like my parents' generation. That's what they did. But as like my generation grew up, we got to kind of take over more, and we kind of would change it up. We've done a taco bar Christmas Day. We've done brunch, breakfasty stuff Christmas Day. I've got to make my famous tater tot casserole, which I've made for Jake, which is delicious.
That is delicious.
This year, we're hosting at my house. So we're going to try our hand at brisket, which I've never done. And we have to figure out how to cook that either in our oven or a crock pot or something to get that done right. Because I'm not going to be able to roast it on the grill at all. It's going to be too cold.
And side note, Ben actually, and I feel bad, Ben actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago and goes, "Hey, Jake, we're doing a brisket this year." And the honest chef in me messaged him back, "I can't really help you because I am not a brisket person, and it's not something I make a lot of. I didn't, if I had a choice to smoke meat for a long time, it's going to be pork butt. I'm a big pork guy compared to it. There's other cuts of beef I enjoy more. And I just wasn't comfortable giving him pointers on something that I don't really know. And so if any fans of the show have some ideas, send it our way. We're happy to pass along to Ben because as the chef, it's one of those things. People think you know everything about food. And there is something to be said though when you're honest about it. And Ben appreciated it where I was just like, "No, I'm sorry. I would love to help you, but it's just not something
chef.
I do." Yeah. And I had no answer for you on that one.
Yeah, it's all right. We found something. We're going to give it a shot, and who knows how it'll turn out.
I will tell you, I've done brisket in the crock pot, I've done brisket in the oven, and I've also done brisket on the barbecue. I've never smoked a brisket. Barbecue is my preferred, so not sure if that's an opportunity for you. But the crock pot, you get you get the crock pot, meat there. It's if you've had meat out of a crock pot, then you've had every meat out of a crock pot. The oven, you do have a little bit more control, but I do prefer the barbecue. So there's that. So good luck to you on that as well. But guys, I want to transition into a fun debate that I've been made aware of. So we've talked on this show, actually about a year ago, about Jake's love for Krampus. And
yes.
Since we have Captain Christmas on this episode, I figured I would try to moderate somewhat of a political debate format as to why I should vote either Krampus or Kringle as the preferred mascot of this holiday. And so I'm Ben, as our guest, I'm going to allow you to kind of start with your opening argument. Why is Kringle so much better than Krampus?
He makes people happy by giving them presents. He makes all the children happy and gives them gifts and brings so much joy to their lives and cheers them up.
Jeff Bezos, wow. I'm so happy he can deliver to everybody in one night. Way to go.
All right.
Is it my turn?
All right, Hater. Let's
Okay.
All right. So in the spirit of having a free debate here, a free conversation, please tell us why Krampus is so much better than Kringle.
The world started with cautionary tales for a reason. When your kids were being shitheads or you needed to be scared into something, you needed to have a reason to have the fear. It's turned into, you might end up on the naughty list, and people still get presents. And then it turned into the elf on the shelf crap. You want to go back to old school, screw you, he's going to bang your wife, he's going to take your kids, you're going to get whipped by a fucking bushel of fucking thorns because you screwed up. The demon king of Christmas is showing up, kicking your ass, taking your names, and hopefully he has mercy on you. The whole day's about Jesus anyways. So, of course, if you want to really get into the hallmark, we need a hallmark of a holiday. You need to have the demon on the other side, not some big fat guy eating too much with diabetes, flying around with a bunch of wimpy-ass reindeer telling us that everybody's going to be great. Krampus is king, bro.
Is it really about Jesus, though? Because if you look at the commercials here, and I'm just playing devil's advocate on behalf of Ben here. If you look at the commercials, it's all about Santa. Santa comes with morality. Santa comes with lessons to be learned in all of his teachings and all the stories about him. Santa comes with mutant powers, depending on how you'd like to look at Santa and what reading material you have. I do think that you are discounting Santa just a touch. As the judge of this debate, what say you, Jake?
Santa's sold out, bro. He's all about Coca-Cola now. He doesn't give a fuck. Come on, let's be honest here. He's so commercialized, dude. And you're telling we have pussified the world, right? So you're telling me that he's giving these lessons of morality. No, dude, it's just pretty much you're going to get a gift. This guy's going to show up. He's going to shrink and come down your chimney and whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the whole, all about it. I'd rather scare people into, being better. You really think that we're going in the right direction? I mean, the only thing that Santa's got going for him, it's the greatest lie ever created that the whole world has been on board with and has gone with. I will give him that. Krampus isn't a lie, though. He's the truth.
All right, Ben. So I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate for Krampus here. In Jake's rant that he went on, his tirade there, he makes some valuable points. Life is hard. Life is one of those 4-letter words. There's a lot of lessons that are learned through trials and tribulation. Sometimes you have to make the same mistake over and over and over in order to learn the lesson, right? There's really no happy endings on this earth unless you choose to interpret it that way. Why should we be coddling people who choose to believe in Santa instead of embracing the life lesson of Krampus?
So there's a lot of, like you said, life is hard. It's crap. It's shit. But what Santa brings is the joy and the optimism and the wonder, and it lifts your spirits and warms your soul and brings the love into your heart, Jake.
Oh my
Feel
God.
the love from Santa. And you say that, Krampus is the guy that you're going to call to scare your kids. I don't say to my son, I'm going to call Krampus. I tell him I'm going to call Santa and tell him you ain't getting any presents. And we can pick up the phone, and he runs screaming in the next room, no, don't call Santa. Don't tell him. So he doesn't care about Krampus because you're the only one.
Have you told your son about Krampus, though? Have you introduced him to the joy of Krampus and see
There is
how
no
much
joy
more
in
scared?
Krampus.
All right, you want to see how more scared he would be? Come on, there's a difference there. You're telling me he's running when you tell you're going to call Santa. Show him Krampus. I guarantee he's going to crap his pants.
I do feel like if you were to call Krampus, you would end up calling Jake the hater, and Jake would just be like, I'm fucking Krampus. Just be like the start of a metal song. So we're not going to make amends, right? You guys are just going to stay on two opposite sides of the aisle there.
No, because side note, behind the show, there was one year where I was up until like 4 a.m. and all I did was text Ben pictures and gifs of Krampus all night long. That Ben eventually had to turn, his wife asked him to turn the phone off because I would not stop tirading on him. And then he came back like the next day with 50, and the one disadvantage I had, there's not a lot of gifts of Krampus. It was a lot of repeats because you run out of photos and stuff of him.
I did
and
not
Ben
run
had
out.
a
I had no
million to
repeats.
choose from.
I
Yeah, you had a
have
million.
options and choices. Pick
That's
all
the-
the Santa pictures I want.
That's the commercialization right there. Hail Santa, I guess. Well, with that, boys, let's go ahead and talk about some Christmas specials. So, Ben, as you know, we pride ourselves on entertainment topics here at the Bleach Bros. And in keeping up with this Christmas-style episode, I wanted to kind of bring up I don't even know if we're going to call this an everlasting segment, Jake. I think that we're just going to say what are the top, and then we go with it. Yeah. So, Christmas specials, Ben, you are our guest. We're going to do round robin, top 5 Christmas specials. And the caveat here, boys, this is not a Christmas movie. This is a Christmas special. Could be a TV special, TV movie, right? But not a commercialized film, not a Hollywood-style film. Am I correct on all of that?
We are. Are we doing honorable mentions too?
We do have honorable mentions. I know I have some. You have some. Ben, you have some, correct?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, Ben, start us off. What do you have in your honorable mention of Christmas specials?
So my 2 honorable mentions are outside of that. They're more Hollywood, but the recent Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, I really enjoyed that. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch it.
It's excellent.
Pretty fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I'm gonna throw back to the old Star Wars Christmas special. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. But
Shut up.
It's
that's terrible.
so amazing. It's so bad.
That's terrible.
That's actually where we got our name for our first dog, from Wicket the Ewok. I saw that name, and then we got like a miniature collie when I was like 8 or 9, and that's what we named it after. Was after that. So
Was it a disappointing family dog, or was it a good family dog?
it was a great family dog.
Well, better than the show, I guess.
Oh, it was so
That
much
thing
better than the show,
sucks.
but I know it's so bad it's good.
Wow.
Okay, I give you that.
I'm slightly disappointed, but Captain Christmas must know what he's talking about. So, Jake, what are your honorable mentions?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Xmas special, Christmas special. I love freaking otters. I love freaking puppets. I like that type of shit. It is like Muppetized animals just having a freaking shindig hootenanny on Christmas. Fuck yeah, sign me up. Now, can it make my top 5? No. Is it going on, though, as an honorable mention? Hell yeah, it is. Hell, you're telling me you don't want a beaver playing a banjo in a beaver dam underground with his little 4 furry buddies getting drunk? Yeah, hell yeah, sign me up all day.
Wow.
On that note, the second one, here's the thing. You can hate me guys for this or not, but it was a whole TV series, and this is why I put it in honorable mention, because I feel that it needs to be talked about, and it was Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye, if you say Die Hard is, and you took the whole thing and said it's all about Christmas, it is a great Christmas family special about Christmas and trying to get home and doing all that. And so I would count that. Like I said, I can't put it in the top 5 because I'm reaching here, but I loved Hawkeye, the show, and it surrounded Christmas, and it was fucking fun.
All right. Well, apparently you guys have a whole shit bag of bad shit here. So, all right. So going to the real ones here, I have Muppet Family Christmas. Now, the reason why Muppet Family Christmas is on here is because it is a full-length movie. It was not a TV special that I could find, but I watched it, obviously, as it was on VHS. The thing that I loved about Muppet Family Christmas is that it included Sesame Street, and it also included Fraggle Rock. And I just thought that was absolutely amazing. Muppet Family Christmas was Christmas-oriented. It had a great storyline to it. And I love the fucking Muppets. So why wouldn't you do Muppet Family Christmas? My second honorable mention is Year Without a Santa Claus. I thought Year Without a Santa Claus was done very well. I love the villains in it, actually, which is probably what highlighted
Mr.
it.
Snow Miser. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. It didn't make my top. It was borderline on my top 5. And when we get into the top 5, I'll tell you guys why. But yeah, Year Without a Santa Claus is right there.
Well, see, I'm going to jump in there because that is my number 5. And since you mentioned it, I'll say it because the villains in the song. Like, It was one of those ones growing up. I didn't watch it as much, and I appreciated it more when I got older because I appreciate that stop motion and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But also, it was the one that, like, I don't remember, like, you knew the air dates of the classic ones, and that one didn't feel that way. It felt like a side note. And so that's why it's number 5 for me, but I just like that one. So,
Ben, what do you got for number 5?
That's also my number 5. I that was just like the one other one that I could think of that's for my top 5, and that was the one that stuck with me. The stop motion, the Fire and Ice guys, that, I still remember them, vividly. So that was my number 5 as well.
So my number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas. I fucking loved every second of that. Marvel did a phenomenal job trying to make a Hallmark movie, and they nailed it. They nailed it. They nailed it. They nailed it. They had great character arcs, great. Even the CGI looked fake, and I love that. You look at Groot and you're like, oh no, that dude's wearing a suit. No, he's not. It's CGI. Kevin Bacon was amazing. The old 97s were amazing. The music, it was amazing. Oh my God. Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was it.
What the hell's happening here, Bueller? Because that's my number 4. And it's my number 4 because I felt bad putting it there, thinking I was cheating, sort of like my Hawkeye. Like, they're going to give me shit because it's technically not a movie, but it's a special presentation. And, I watched it on Disney+. But it was great.
Oh, it was awesome.
Fucking fun.
Awesome.
It was great because it's also one of those ones where the opening, it feels like Christmas, but it also feels like it could be watched outside of Christmas enough. Like, it's not so overly Christmas that it's in your face. You're like, I can't watch this like in fucking July.
Well, then they give like the little connecting nugget of Star-Lord and Mantis actually finally they're related. Yeah. So that's like bringing the family into it. Makes it even that much more important.
But I loved Cosmo the dog. That was probably my favorite. Him and Rocket, or her, I don't know, whatever, was communicating. It was so much fucking fun, dude.
Yeah, no,
it was so much fun.
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas, I didn't have hopes for it. I'm going to be completely candid with you. I had no clue what to expect. Was honestly so super surprised by it. So Jake, that was your number 4, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ben, what's your number 4?
I went with Frosty the Snowman, the original cartoon, with the songs and the kids playing around and him melting and everyone following him.
Happy birthday.
Yep. One of the original specials that's on every season. So that one hit number 4 for me.
I like it. My number 4 was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I love the stop motion part of it. I loved the storyline part of it and how all of the reindeer played the reindeer games, and there was that politics, if you want, of, the social issues and all that sort of stuff. And of course, Rudolph comes out as the hero, and he ends up leading everybody because of his nose. And if you look at when it was made in society, it was actually done as a social statement. And I think that it's actually very beautiful in a sense that it has the message of welcoming and acceptance in it, but it also completely communicates the spirit of Christmas. And so I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's my number 4.
Nice. My number 3 is Frosty. And Ben nailed all the things. I love all the songs of it. I'll say this, Frosty Returns sucks. It's one of the worst fucking movies ever made. I don't even know what happened. It felt like on 80s they were finishing up their Coke and Shroom Bender and said, hey, let's just make some money really quick. And they released that fucking abomination. But Frosty's one of the ones I always watch. The Happy Birthday always gets me. It made me really think of what a fucking poinsettia was. I'll say that when he melted, and I hated those flowers saying when I was a kid saying thanks for fucking ruining Frosty's life. I think it's also, too, because we grew up in an area, B-word, where there wasn't a lot of snow.
Right.
And, you'd get that tiny bit and you'd try to make a snowman and it would just be clumps of dirt and clumps of like whatever, like, the quarter inch that landed on the ground. And so I was always relating to, man, I want to build a snowman. I wish I could build a giant one like that. And so I don't know, it always attracted me to that. But it's just a great special. It's easy to watch. It's fun for the family. It's still fun as an adult because, it's only like 20, 25 minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time. I could be wrong on the runtime, but it's right. Quick. It goes by. And it's just an enjoyable, quick, easy watch. So,
Ben, what's your number 3?
Number 3 for me is Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Okay.
I love the songs in that. I love everything with him. And all that, and the little decorations, the sad little tree. We had one of those for a while for the kids, and it's one of the songs that my son recognizes every time he hears it too, when that piano starts. So that one landed on number 3 for me.
So my number 3 is actually Frosty the Snowman. So I do want to touch back on the no snow conversation, because when we would get snow, I would actually go out and get a snowball that would be full of dirt and everything else, and I would put it in the freezer with the hope that I would have it for a later day. And somehow that my mom or whoever would always, get rid of my snowball. So I was really pissed about it. But Frosty the Snowman is one of my favorites. My number 2, and I'm just going to sneak in front of you guys here, is Charlie Brown Christmas. And I love Charlie Brown Christmas because, again, the messaging. It had that, it talked about being unfortunate in the holidays. And it talked about, being able to overcome whatever circumstance you're dealing with to enable the holiday to do what it's going to do. And so Charlie Brown Christmas, for that reason, is my number 2. And so I'm going to change the order here. Ben, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That whole story of Dr. Seuss narrating it and just watching that whole thing. It's a perfect half-hour binge, and even the animation is good in it. And that one still holds up to today. I currently watch the new movie version of it with Benedict Cumberbatch doing the voice. My son loves that, so that's on replay right now a lot often. It's got a great soundtrack that Pharrell does, pretty much all the songs on it. So, but the original Grinch, it's just a classic that just you always got to see at least once a season.
Nice.
What about you, Hater?
I think people will be surprised by this because Charlie Brown doesn't even make my list. I know everybody loves it. I'm not a Peanuts guy. Also, the fact that I always thought it was just Snoopy growing up. Didn't even know it was called Peanuts until later. Charlie Brown depresses me. Don't give it. The only thing I care about with that is, I guess, the song and the Little Red Tree, because I always tell my family every year that we're finally going to get that. But it actually is The Grinch, and I think people probably would have thought that would have been my number one due to his hatred, the heart growing, all that, But I think also because I just watched the Jim Carrey one the other night, and I love that one too. I love the rhyming. I love Dr. Seuss. I love his stylized of art. And I thought it was just perfectly done. It has one of the best songs ever for Christmas as well. The way it's sang. It's mentioned in almost every other Christmas movie, like Home Alone. It's just such a classic, fun one. It's just one of those things. Unlike Frosty, it feels too short for me, and I understand it's short material and they got to get through it. But it's one of those ones as a kid, whenever I watched it, I was like sad that it was over, and I wanted more of the Grinch. So that's why it's my number two. Like I said, I almost had it as number one, and I sat here and I went back and forth between my number one and number two, and it just had to land there because number one's so much more important to me. But B-Word, what's yours?
So it's funny because now I'm curious as to what your guys' number one is, because my number one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And for all the reasons that you two just laid out, but also, again, it's that story of humanity. I think that the Grinch is more relatable now that I'm older. But yeah, the Grinch is definitely my number one. So Ben, finish it up, man. What do you got?
Number one for me is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's got so many fun parts to it, not just Rudolph, but then you throw in Yukon with his pickaxe all the way coming through and busting shit up and just being hilarious. The giant Yeti. And then you got the little Hermie elf wanting to be a dentist out of all things random in that whole story. And I think it's just kind of fun the way it all intertwines together. The Island of Misfit Toys is thrown in there. You get to see the great stop animation, the songs throughout. There are so many classics in there. And I think it's just like that, like, first memory of Christmas, first special you remember seeing is you always stayed up. That came on like late, and your parents would let you stay up one night during a school week, and you'd get to watch that every season.
That's my number one too, B-Word.
Wow.
The Bumble. I love it. I'm one of those people too, and we've talked about this on the show. I always find the weirdest little thing in the background. My favorite part of that movie is the birdfish. I don't know why, but as a kid, I thought that was the coolest little fucking thing. Now there's that meme going around of the jelly gun, and I feel bad for him that there is some asshole just keeps filling that water pistol with jelly, which makes no sense. That's why he's there. He doesn't belong there. Just throw him in the water for a while, let him drown, and then bring him back up, and he'll be fine. But I love that movie for everything Ben's saying. But I think it's also, too, because when we're kids, animals is a thing. A lot of us like talking animals. And it was just enjoyable. But I also related to Rudolph's dad. Not like me, but like how I was treated. Like if I had a red nose, my dad probably would have painted it black and told me to get the fuck over it. And it was that mentality. And it was just like, I don't know, and I'm not trying to get deep, like, oh, I felt like Rudolph, but it's just, I don't know, it's just such an enjoyable fucking special. That's the one I look forward to every year. I love the art style. I love all the characters, because it's one of those shows, too, it has a lot of characters, and it is about Rudolph, but there's a giant Yeti, and there's Yukon Cornelius, like, singing Silver and Gold, and there's the dentist elf, and the angry old elf trying to get him to do his job, and Rudolph's shitty dad, and the snowman giving us a great song. I mean, everybody in that movie or special is freaking phenomenal. There's character development for a kid's show.
Yeah.
And that's rare. And it's like within the time frame they do it too. They tell better storylines of these characters than most movies can nowadays with a whole plot. And maybe it's because it's so simplistic, but it's just done well.
Okay. So I can't say that either of you have a horrible list. I will disagree with the Star Wars Christmas special. And Brenda's Beaver Needs a Barber, or whatever your Christmas special was.
Emmett Otters. Fuck you. Emmett Otters are great.
I don't even know what that is.
Heard of it. So,
go look it up.
So long story short, I will disagree with those. But overall, man, this has been a great episode. Just real quick, thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. We really appreciate your patronage to our podcast. We hope that you're enjoying the additional content, the exclusive content on our Patreon. If you want to check out our Patreon, if you want to check out our merch, check out anything like that, check out our link tree. All the socials are all the links are in there, the socials, everything else. And Ben, thank you so much for coming on, teaching us the meaning of Christmas, teaching us about what Christmas means from a pure perspective and with the belief of Santa, unlike
I hope I brightened your holidays.
Unlike our Krampus asshole over here. But with that, Jake, what do you got for us?
Thanks for all the dirty talk, and come back and get sanitized.